going on? It's your boy T-Buck, the host, man. Listen, I have a segment, man, I call it film. I am a big movie fan. I love film. And I got somebody special today. And I'm just going to, before y'all see who we talking about today, let me just get some accolades right quick, okay? First of all, his name is Rich Hansil. He is an award-winning filmmaker with experience in shorts, features, and television. He worked across multiple departments in the industry before finding his niche as a showrunner, director, and a director of photography. His credits includes Netflix, Discovery, NBC, ABC, and Fox, along with multiple film festivals, working with budgets from, first of all, this is a lot, $150,000 to $5 million. Now that's a lot. That's a lot. Founder of 318 Films, worked as SVP creative at September Films. He works on indie films as a director, photography, gaffer, AD, and editor. Has served as co-director of education and programming of Robinson Film Center. Everybody give it up to my boy Rich Hansil in the building. What's up, man?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Man, thank you for being here today, bro.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate you, man. I met you just a couple weeks ago, man, and the knowledge that I heard from you, just talk about movies. Like, it attracted me, man, because I love movies. I'm a musician at heart, but, man, when I tell you I go every Tuesday, Tinseltown, $5, I'm there.
That's where you should be. And you got the right shirt on.
Man, come on. Yeah, Blockbuster. Come on. Yes. Hey, yes. Hey, definitely sponsor Blockbuster. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, man, thank you for coming on the platform, man. So we're definitely going to give you your flowers, man, because y'all just heard the accolades of this great man. Y'all heard what I just got done saying. He is doing some great things in our city of Shreveport, Louisiana, man. So tell the people where you from.
Oh, man. So a little bit of everywhere. So I grew up between a town outside of Atlanta and a town outside of San Francisco. So it's a little fishing and farming town down the coast in Northern California, and then a town called Stone Mountain outside of Atlanta. But I ended up living in LA for about 20 years. So I kind of lived all over the country and then went to film school. I was a musician, actually. So I
Come on, bro.
Well, so I got a job. I got an internship at a recording studio, but they were also a post house. Recording was dead. So they said, you're going to go work in the TV department. I said, I don't want to do that. I want to do the music stuff. And they said, you're an intern. Go do what we tell you. And I fell in love with it. I had to get up at 4 a.m., pick up film from a lab, drive it in, load it into a machine so they could go through it, the colors and everything. And I just thought it was the greatest thing. And I met really interesting people. And I thought, this is what I want to do. So I changed what I was doing, found a film school, went there, and then moved to LA, lived there for 20 years, and then ended up in Shreveport. So There you go.
So there you go. Wow, man, that's wow, that's a lot of places, man. So you well-rounded. I believe your mind has been stretched at a young age, and I believe everybody's minds needs to be stretched. And because I feel like it's like a rubber band. If you stretch it, it will never get back to its right place. You know what I'm saying? So my mind has been stretched, and I'm thankful for my parents to get me out of Shreveport to see other things so I can have a podcast like this and want to set the standard in Shreveport that, of production work, you know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely thankful for that, man. So yes, we got a couple questions, man, that I definitely want to ask you. It's not too hard questions, man. But also too, I definitely wanted you to just talk about some movies and things like that. But I got my first question, man. Can you share a bit about your journey into the world of TV and filmmaking, and what inspired you to pursue this career?
Well, man, so my mom loved movies, and so she would take me to movies that I was definitely too young to go see. And she loved like a weird choice of action movies. So she took me to Conan when I was a little kid. I think I was 12, and I went to see Conan. And then she took me to Enter the Dragon, which like blew my mind completely into little like 12-year-old pieces, because I was like, that's going to be my job. I'm going to be a Kung Fu secret agent. This is my job for the rest of my life. This seems really viable for a kid from a small town in Georgia. Like, let's do this. That is obviously not a job, it turns out, or at least not a job anybody told me about. And then, like, video cameras were really expensive back in the day. Not everybody had phones, and so you had, like, the big shoulder mount. But we had some friends in school who had money, and they had a video camera.
Okay.
And I was like, hold on. What's going on with this thing? And so me and the little girl would make little, like, action movies. Terrible. like bad sword fights and none of us knowing kung fu, but pretending to know kung fu and running around in the woods, just like little country, whatever. And it was great and kind of loved it. And then all that went away because nobody where I was from knew that was a job. Like that was not a thing you could do. You went and you got a real job. Like you worked at a factory, or you became a lawyer, or whatever it was. But there were like a pretty limited path of careers that you could do, and they were kind of the standard careers. And then, like I said, I was in school. I was a philosophy major because I was going to go to law school, and that's otherwise you can't do anything else with philosophy. You teach or you go to law school. The smartest guy I know, he's a tow truck driver, which is actually a great career for a philosopher. It's because he gets a lot of time by himself to think about things, and he gets to see the human condition. That was great. I was enjoying it. And then I had an internship because, again, I was in a band. I wanted to learn more about the recording side because that was kind of my backup. I can become an engineer. That's a real job. If the music thing doesn't work out. The place was dead. So they put me on the film side because it was a big post house. And I loved it. I loved it to death. So changed majors, took a year off school, saved up a bunch of money, went to film school. And then that led to... We had a pretty good system. It was a film school in Montana, which you would think is not that great, but it was a top 5 film school at the time at Montana State. And the way it worked was kids 2 years above me went to LA. They got the kids 1 year above me a job. We went down. The kids 1 year above me got us a job. We got the kids below us a job. So the deal was you get your first job as a PA, a production assistant. That's how everybody starts in film for the most part, unless you got a lot of money. You start as a PA. After that, it's up to you. You hard work and you're in, or you screwed up. Good luck, man. I hope you know how to wait tables or bartend, which is also what I did.
So tell me, what is a PA for people that don't know? What is a PA?
So a PA is the backbone of every film. Films are like an army. They are the privates of a film. It's what it runs on. It's production assistant, and your job can be literally anything. You may be getting coffee. I spent a lot of time standing around, so I was an office PA and a set PA. My first job was on a movie called Armageddon. So I started on a really big movie, which was cool.
Bruce.
Oh, yeah, because I got to see a lot of stuff. I got to stand next to Bruce. You don't talk to Mr. Willis, but you get to stand next to Mr. Willis. And by the way, super funny guy, like really cool.
He seemed like it, right?
Really nice to everyone. Like he doesn't know who I am, but he was, he says hi to people. He makes eye contact. He's never like, he's may I have a please? Just the guy, he was a pro. He was a really cool guy. But I remember one of my jobs, I had to get the film at the end of a day because they were shooting at an Air Force base at Edwards and drive it like 3 hours into town. I've got an old beater car. It doesn't have locks on it. There's no air conditioning. Like everything's broken. And I have the day's film, which is everyone's work. So on a film that size, it's like $150,000, which I've never seen in my life. And I'm driving around it and I have to go to the bathroom and I'm like, my car doesn't lock and I can't leave this in the car. So and this is bad. Like I have to find a gas station where I can see the car from the bathroom and like go pee with the door open to see that.
Right. Yeah.
So started with that and worked really hard. And then I also got a bartending job. So I would bartend on the weekends. I would make more Friday and Saturday night than I made all week. And I love bartend. It's a great job. But I wanted to do the film thing. So kept working at that and worked. I knew I wanted to direct and produce. So I tried to work in as many departments as possible. I want to know how everyone does their job. So I know if they're doing their job to the level they can, or if someone tells me, we always joke about it, but like the camera guys will be like, hey, the flux capacitor's broke. We need 10 minutes. I'm like, there's no flux capacitor on the camera. Let's go. We don't have time for that kind of a thing. So I just wanted to make sure I understood the entire process. So worked as a PA in editorial. I worked on set. I worked in the office. I worked in the accounting department. And then I worked at a trailer house where we did all the movie previews, which was really cool. Thought I might want to edit, started working my way towards that. And I was working up to be an AE. And the guy I worked for sat me down and he said, hey, man, we're getting ready to promote you. But is this what you moved here for? Is this what you want to do? Because like you can do this and it's good money. It's a good living. But he's like, is this what you want to do? And I went home and I thought about it and I put in my 2 weeks notice the next day. Because he was right. I did not move there to be an editor. I wanted to be a director, which to be clear, did not work out in Hollywood, but set me on the path that I was on. So it all worked out in a way. So yeah.
So what inspired you to pursue the career?
Just, I love movies. I love storytelling. We talk, you hear me, I'm BSing. I like telling stories.
Yeah, man.
And movies, so this is, it's a little much. For people that don't love movies, I apologize. But like movies touch people in a way that I think is hard to do with other mediums. Books are really personal, right? When you read a book, it's your interpretation of it. Even music, it is an artist's vision, but it affects you in a generally a private or personal way unless you're at a big concert, and then you can feel it as a communal art form. When you go to theater, it's a communal art form. You feel the energy of the crowd. It's almost like being able to like mind control people. If you read a lot of comics, movies, music, theater lets you get everyone on the same wavelength and put them together and make them feel a certain way or think about a certain thing. And I think that's the coolest thing in the world, man. And I've always loved sitting in a theater with a crowd or by myself. I love watching movies. I love having people tell me stories. And I just love the art form. There's so much that goes into it. And then the other thing we always tell the kids, so like filmmaking is a team sport. And I grew up, I played ice hockey. I like the camaraderie. You can make movies by yourself. That's your only thing. Go make movies by yourself. But to make them at the level you probably want to, you need a team. You're not in here doing this by yourself. There's a team around you right now.
Facts.
I love that part of it. I like working with a group to hit a goal, and it just feels good. So,
it does. Facts.
So that's what got me in. My mom showing me cool movies, and then and she's still like, we still talk about movies about every week, and then working together with a group to make something happen, and then being able to, like, some kid in another country sees this movie and thinks that's amazing. There's a movie we're playing next door called Flow. It's from a Latvian animator. Wow. And it looks amazing. And I'm like, I'm going to go see something made by a guy in Latvia that's going to make me feel something that guy wanted me to feel. And that just, I just think that's cool. I just love it.
Man, that's awesome, man. Listen, y'all hear this? Y'all, I mean, do y'all hear? Man, that's why I love that I made this platform for film people, because, man, it's more than what y'all see on TV and on the films. When you go to Tinseltown, you get your popcorn, you eat it, and you, oh, wow, and you're laughing or you're crying. And it takes a lot of emotions. It takes a lot of blood, sweat, tears, headaches, no sleep, things like that for a film to even come out. And that's the magic of it, just the work that takes for this to film. A lot of things, casualties might happen on a set.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of things might happen on a set for this movie to be seen. You know what I'm saying? So, man, that's what's up, bro. That's definitely what's up. So, listen, I got another question for you. What is your favorite part of filmmaking process?
Ooh. So the least important part is being on set, right? All the hard work happens in prep. And then your post should be a really long time. So you got to get the film ready, and then you shoot the film, and then you edit, right? Mm-hmm. I love being on set. I love it. I don't care if it's hour 18 of a long day. You're out, you're with your team, you're with your people, you're making it happen, you're putting something out. And sometimes, and you get it, you don't really get it in prep, but you'll get it in post sometimes. But the stuff you don't plan for. So the accidental magic, when that comes, wherever that's coming from, whatever you want to attribute it to, whatever you think is providing that, where here's what I wanted, and then you just got something way better. And it was unexpected, and something happened. A mistake, a brilliant flash from an actor. The camera guy saw something and moved in a different way than you expected. The audio person heard something, said, hold on, let me get this, and we're going to add it to the final product. When you have that accidental magic, there's nothing like it. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird rush, and it feels good, and I love it. So that is my favorite part, I would say. The beautiful mistakes, if you will. I definitely like. That's what. So, how do you think? This is a good one for you right here. Okay, this is a good question. How do you think streaming platforms have changed the opportunities and challenges for filmmakers? Ooh, that's a big question.
Come on.
So, a couple things. So the consolidation of streaming has killed our industry. So a lot of people, and you can talk to a lot of people in town and everywhere else, have not worked in a couple years. So it's driven a lot of people out of the industry. I know a lot of people retiring early, selling gear, cashing in retirement plans. It's been brutal because they bought up everybody wants to rely on IP, right? So you need the intellectual property. So as the studios and streamers consolidated, they tried to buy as much of a catalog as they can. So they went into debt. Now they've got to make that money back, which means they're not making as many new things. Because what they realized for the first time, so there's some good stuff with streamers too that we'll get to, but the bad part is, one of the interesting parts, for the first time in history, they have real numbers. Like on TV, they used to have Nielsen families, and you had a notebook, and you wrote down what you were watching and how long.
Right.
You know, people were diligent, they were not diligent, I don't know. Now they know to the second. They know if I turn on a show,
technology, man,
dude. But if I turn it on, I mean, y'all see your metrics on YouTube. Yeah, if you turn it on, someone turns it off after 2 minutes, you can see that and adjust. So they see, and what they've seen, from my understanding from talking to agents and whatever, is they know that people are watching old shows, and the new shows do well, but the old shows do well. So they're looking to amortize out that catalog they've bought first, and then they'll start making more new stuff. And so what they want is guaranteed hits. They want new Iron Man. They want new Marvel. They want those things. They want Wicked, right? That's based on existing IP.
Right.
Those are things where they know there's a built-in audience. And there's still a world of indies that's happening behind the scenes. So those are what's working, but those aren't the big jobs that all the union guys work on. So that's kind of the downside of streaming. So it's crushed the industry for those of us that make our living on it. Like it's been a tough couple of years for a lot of people, and a lot of worry about how you pay your bills, and that certainly me included. And because my wife also works in production, makes it even tough. What you need to do, like just for all y'all out there, if you get married, one of you should have a real job and one of you should work in film, because two of you working in film gets real tough real fast. Just so y'all know.
Yeah.
But it's been a weird time with that.
Yeah.
But it's also provided more people with more access to films than they've ever had. So like if you have HBO Max, they have a bunch of brilliant French New Wave films on there, which is something I always tell the kid, like y'all should be watching French New Wave movies. If you watch anything that Tarantino's done, he is stealing from French New Wave movies. I think you were there. He's also stealing from old Japanese movies, old Hong Kong movies.
Yeah, he does.
Now you can find those. When I was a kid, you had to get on TBS or WGN and you had to find them, or you had to be up at 2 a.m.
Pops up, yeah.
That's exactly. And
yeah.
I don't sleep a lot, so I was always up late at night.
Too. Listen,
that's how you see 37 Chambers, right? It's like that's where you get into the weird stuff, and that's what Tarantino. But he worked at a video store, so he was just seeing all the weird stuff in the back. Yeah, that was his film school. He worked at a video rental store, like cassette tapes and DVDs, and he watched everything, and he kept notes. And he thought one day, Lady Snowblood, that's a dope sword fight scene in the back with the snow. Next thing you know, Kill Bill. It's almost shot for shot Lady Snowblood. It's so close to ripping off Lady Snowblood. His company, A Band Apart, is the name of a French New Wave movie. Jules at the Gym is a famous French New Wave movie. The characters in Pulp Fiction are named for a French New Wave movie. Like he's just straight stealing. So you go to the source code and you can watch. So kids now, just for $19.99 a month or whatever max costs, they can go watch the source code of all those Tarantino movies and then the Tarantino movies themselves, which I think is super interesting, right? So you can go and watch these movies. The trick with them, and why I like physical media, why I like to collect DVDs and records and all that stuff, because things come and go. So we talked, Last Dragon was on either HBO, it was on Netflix for 4 months, but then it went away. So if you don't own Last Dragon on DVD, which obviously I do, then you can watch it, or you got to wait till the theater across the street plays it. You have to wait for the Robinsons to do it once a year as a retrospective kind of thing. So streaming's good that it provides access. It's bad in that the access is really unpredictable, and it's hard to find when you're going to get stuff. So I like what it's done in terms of access to content. And again, if you grew up in a town that didn't have a video store, and I lived in a town small enough that it didn't have much of a video store, you don't need it. You can just get everything. Like it used to be kind of you had to live in a bigger city to get access to these movies. Now you can just get them anywhere. So I think that's really cool. But I do wish they hadn't, crushed my entire industry and killed my work. small things.
Yeah. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So listen, I got another question for you. Could you tell us about a project that you're particularly proud and why it stands out to you?
There's a bunch, man. I've worked on some terrible stuff, but I've worked on some stuff I'm super proud of. So this is funny.
You can tell us terrible stuff too. Yeah,
I got a few of those. But there's a few. So every film I made with friends where they've been happy with the end result, I couldn't be more proud. My buddy made a low budget horror movie in New Jersey that we shot in an abandoned hospital. That's like the scariest place I've ever been. And we made it for no money. And I flew myself out and slept on his couch, and we had a blast. And I'm super proud because he's happy with it. And he's one of my best friends in the world. We went to school together. We were roommates in LA. To see him go from side by side, we're PAs, to directing his second movie and getting a budget, and it's based off a novel, and it got picked up and made money like that. If I can be a tiny part of that, I'm thrilled, man. That's great. So anything where I've helped a friend out, it just feels really good because that's what you want. You see someone get to that level they wanted. Right. This is silly, but I worked on a show called Super Nanny for ABC. She's a British nanny that went around and put kids in the naughty corner, but we helped a ton of families, and it feels really good, man. Those families, you would get letters, you get graduation notices from them years later. They genuinely needed help. We took ABC's money, and look, I'm sure ABC are lovely people and care about helping people, but that was probably not their primary purpose. They probably wanted to make money off the show. But we used their money and their clout to help people. And we had access to, I could call Harvard child development doctors and say, hey, we're doing this thing. And they're like, you guys are idiots, but you're on a big TV show with 10 million viewers. We're going to help you because we want you to get the right information. So I had access to an amazing amount of resources that I could use to help totally normal people. I can't do that in my daily life. So it feels really good. And then another show, we did a show for Netflix called Fastest Car that I love because I love cars. I've always loved them. We got to do great stuff. I got to work with 3 really brilliant directors that I respect that have done features and ads for Adidas and, you know, like car ads and all kinds of cool stuff. We worked with a stunt driver who's one of the coolest people I know, who's been like a James Bond and like has done all kinds of cool. He's literally just drove across Antarctica. He's a precision driver in like Atomic Blonde and movies like that. Just super interesting cat. We did a bunch of fun stuff with cars. The DP, a buddy of mine from Shreveport, filmed it. So he was the director of photography on it. So I got a guy from Shreveport working, and then I got 3 other people from Shreveport on it as day players during the thing. So I got to spend a bunch of Netflix's money to pay people from Shreveport, make a show with like super cool people, and do crazy stuff with cars and like drive some really like ridiculously expensive and nice cars. So it was super fun.
Wow.
So yeah. And then, I mean, even the bad movies I'm proud of, just because it's been like just getting a movie across the finish line just feels like an accomplishment no matter how it turns out.
Yeah, man, listen, I've been through the process of just being around them and just seeing how they started and then finished. I mean, it's even like you saying like on set, like, yes, it's fun being on set, but man, once we say that's a wrap. First of all, when you there is a relief when you do hear it's a wrap. It's a relief, but then here you go. It's editing time.
Yeah.
It's now we gotta get audio, we gotta get sound, we have to get this, we gotta score. All these things gotta take place. You know, especially if it's an action movie. You got to make every sound.
Yeah.
You got to get, I mean, and back in the day, you know, they had stuff to make that actual sound. Now we got computerized stuff where you can just, you know, scream, okay, I need a horn. Okay, let me go to type in horn.
Yeah.
And you got 20 different type of sounds of horns that you can use. Back then it was just, you know, everything changes, but that's where the real magic comes. I feel like, man, that's why I love editing. That's when you just sit down and you just create a movie. You just make it make sense.
That's it. Well, and the movie's written 3 times, right? It's when the screenwriter writes it,
yes,
when the actors get a hold of it, and then when the editor's done. That's the final edition of that writing.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, that's where it's at. But you know, the old days where they're like punching hams and cracking celery to get the bones breaking and stuff, and it's like, does that sound like too wet? Should we get drier celery? Whatever it is, sticks.
Right. Everything they tried. I mean, they tried it all, and so that's one thing. When I went to L.A. and I love to go on tours. So I definitely went to Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And I got to see it, man. And when I tell you, when I went to the different sets and things like that, and then I went to Paramount. And I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Just in the middle of where they do the sets, there's so many movies been made there. And
Tons
you know, like
history.
Norbit, I was like, dang, this is what Norbit, because I'm a movie. When I tell you I love movies, man, so I had to go to L.A.
Yeah.
If you want to go, listen, guys, if you want to go to just go to L.A. and go to Warner Brothers and go to Paramount and just go check out and tour it, because they have authentic Batman mobile.
Yeah.
Like, that's what like, I mean, it's so dope. Like, if you're a Harry Potter fan, they have the broom that they created, like all these type of things. And then also too, I love how the perception of a camera, how on Harry Potter, how they had the giant. And so they actually have a where you can walk in and you can be sitting down and then another person standing, but it looks like they're a giant because of the camera, how it's positioned.
Old school, forced perspective.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how they used to do it. No
And
VFX. Yeah.
Yeah,
Same with
no-
The Hobbit. Yeah.
Right, facts, yeah. And it's just so amazing, like, how to see that, because you see it on, you're like, wow, how did they do that? But you actually get to go and see it. So I encourage anybody to go to LA and go to Paramount and Studios, or go to Warner Brothers Studios and just check it out and just see, because it's just so cool just how the different type of sets that they have on there, man.
Well, and you know, so at Paramount, I can't remember if it's the lot right when you drive off Melrose. One of the parking lots is also the one they flood. So there's a big wall in one of the studios, and it's painted usually with like a sunset or something, because they flood it. There's walls around that parking lot, and that's where they used to do some of the old, like, where there's giant boat battle scenes and old like gladiator movies and stuff, like back in the day. That whole parking lot, and I only saw it once. They flood that whole thing, and it becomes an ocean. And that's where they film the water scenes. So it's like 5 feet deep across a parking lot. But you drive in there, and then, you know, what the tour of the guard or whoever tells you, and you're like, wait, this is from, you know, and it's all these classic movies, and it's just, so it's cool. It's, I like the history, and it's
too,
also
bro.
just
Me
walking
too.
around LA, you'll see stuff, right? And you're like, oh, you know, you go to the observatory, you're like, oh, this is the knife fight from Rebel Without a Cause.
Come on.
Right here, I got it. Like this scene, this is where they were driving down, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Come on,
This is
man.
the restaurant they ate at. Like I recognize this place.
Bro,
so
yes.
yeah, it's a weird deja vu all the time around the city because it feels familiar. But again, that's the power of movies. You feel like you ate at this restaurant and you didn't. You just seen it in like 5 movies. So
Right, yeah, and that's I forgot the name of the movie, but I remember they made this old eating place into like a running. I mean, they run it back into like it was running. You know what I'm saying? It was an abandoned restaurant.
Oh man,
I forgot the Stardust. Was it? Oh man, what is that?
it's
Forgot that
was
movie.
was it by a museum or was it downtown, or is it a different? Because there's
I
the
think it was
Stardust
Inglewood.
Motel.
No, not Inglewood.
Okay,
the
yeah,
place.
yeah,
I forgot that like a diner.
Yep. Oh man, Mike would know, and I'm trying because he used to live down there, and I'm trying to remember
Yes.
our projectionist next door.
Yeah, so when I passed
yeah.
by, I remember that. I remember it on the movie.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of that movie, but yeah. So it's so cool when you do go to LA, or even you go to Chicago or New York.
Yeah.
Like I am a Home Alone fan. I had to go.
Yeah.
I had to go see the house. That's me. That's my bucket list. You know, everybody has their time of vacation, but that's my vacationing. I like to go to places like that because, like I said, I'm a movie head. So when I get the opportunity, man, I'm going. Like, I love TV shows. Full House.
Yeah.
Even though it wasn't shot in San Francisco, but I went to the Pink Lady. I wanted to see the building.
Yeah.
That you see every time it comes on, the little hill that you see. Like I wanted to see those things. You know what I'm saying? And it's just amazing that you're able to go see that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you, on my bucket list, I'm a Goonies fan.
Oh yeah.
I love the Goonies,
Yeah.
bro. So I definitely want to go because I think they still have the house up. I believe.
Yeah,
I
in
believe
Portland.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in Portland.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
I want to go. I
Yeah.
definitely want to go just around there, and also too, I want to go where they did Beetlejuice.
Oh, where was Beetlejuice?
I forgot the name. I
That's-
think it's in Maine.
That-
It's somewhere in
That feels
there.
right. That spooky house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's somewhere over there. I just wanted just to see that, just
Yeah.
to ride around like cool. Like, wow.
You-
Those. I just love movies, bro. Yeah.
You want to know the craziest thing from the Goonies?
Come on, man.
So you know Chunk?
Yes.
So his real name is Jeff Cohen.
Okay.
Jeff Cohen, one of the most powerful lawyers in LA. He took his Goonies money. He went to Berkeley Law. He founded a law firm. Him and his partner, what is Jeff's? Jonathan Gardner, Cohen and Gardner. So Jonathan and Jeff founded a law firm. Jeff is consistently one of like the top deal makers. When you read Variety, like you'll see Jeff Cohen as like one of the top deal makers in LA. Wrote a book called like The Art of like Deal Making in Hollywood. Super nice guy and like a monster lawyer, like super powerful. Got real fit, got real jacked. Yeah. But like you'll see him in Variety and Hollywood Reporter and stuff. You'll see Chunk. He doesn't like to be called that, I don't think. But he like that guy's like he's got crazy juice. Like that guy's like a super powerful guy as a lawyer in Hollywood, just swinging deals, like real big clients, just killing the game.
Like
So,
I like
yeah.
movies like that, like Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Those movies, man. I like those brotherhood type of movies.
Coming
like
of
that.
age.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I love movies like that. But man, which one? Beetlejuice. Yours?
Vermont.
Vermont.
okay.
Vermont.
There you go.
Come
Yeah,
on.
all right,
Come
yeah.
on, historian. Appreciate your producer. Yeah.
Close enough up there, northeast.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we was close. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vermont.
it's all
dope.
cold. Yeah.
Right, man. Yeah, freezing right now. I bet. I know. Dope, man. So tell me. So give me some more. Because I feel like you are a historian, man. Give us some more movie history. Just any movie that you just can call out that you can just give us some insight on.
Man.
I know you have a lot of movies, but just
Well, and
say some,
that always vapor locks me, right? So it's trying to think of one and going back. It's well, we talked about The Last Dragon, so we screened.
Yeah,
So
let's talk about that, yeah.
And for people that don't know, so next door at the Robinson Film Center,
let's
we
talk
have
about that, Eric.
so we have a bunch of festivals. One of them is called Cine Noir, and so part of that is we show a lot of independent movies and we show shorts, but we wanted to show 3 big films. So we did Book of Eli, we did Higher Learning, and then we did The Last Dragon. And The Last Dragon's such a weird piece of art where you look at it. And so I love it. If y'all haven't seen it, go check it out. It is hard for me to say it's a good movie, but it's a movie I love. You know what I mean? Because it's silly and it's weird, but it's Barry Gordy's first movie. Yeah, or second, sorry, because The Wiz, second movie.
Yeah.
So he wanted to do for kung fu movies and action movies what The Wiz did for musicals. He said, why is there not our version of this. He's like, where is this movie for us that's not like a Shaft or a Dolomite? He's like, I want a kung fu movie and an action movie that is for us, and I'm going to put a great soundtrack in it. It's going to be Motown artists. So it's a Motown production, and it's Berry Gordy, and he hires a theater director who's directed some other stuff. And it's weird because Christy really likes him, and I was like, I don't know what else he's done that's, that I would say I love.
Yeah, she spoke really highly of him. Yeah.
She did, but Barry stepped, allegedly, Mr. Gordy stepped all over him the whole time, because there's a lot of people from it said that Berry Gordy directed the movie more than he did. So a whole thing, and that's
so he's kind of like the face of it. We just need a director. Just stand right there. But I'm really the man.
I think so, and I think he thought, you handle the blocking, you put them where they need to be for the camera, and I'll handle the action and the dialogue and the cool stuff. And like I think Mr. Gordy just wanted to have fun, because look, Berry Gordy does what Berry Gordy wants. I assume that man's got money and power.
Yeah.
So Motown, pretty big, did all right.
Facts.
Did some cool stuff, but like Timac never worked again. So the lead in that movie, you'll see his IMDb is like 3 other things, because allegedly he got upset. And this I heard.
So tell everybody, who is Timac.
So Timac is the star of The Last Dragon. Okay. He is a stellar martial artist, trained under a guy named Ron Van Cleef, the Black Dragon. Yeah, Bruce Leroy. So, but he trained under a really, really famous and really well-respected martial artist. This guy Ron Van Cleef, who's like the man. Like anybody's into martial arts, if you probably know Ron Van Cleef. If you don't, go look him up. Really interesting cat. Fought in one of the earliest UFCs at the age of like 54. Just like the old school warrior type of guy. Timac was his star student. That's how Berry Gordy found him, because Ron Van Cleef was a big name, and he got him from there. But allegedly, and again, this is from people like other kickboxers and stuff, they said Timac upset Berry Gordy, and Berry Gordy was like, you'll never work in this town again, and did it. Because there's not a lot of people that can really do that.
But how, you're right. I'm trying to say, how can you upset to that point where you would never, and you the star of the movie?
I don't know. And a movie that did well by them, like, because it made money internationally. Like it didn't make its money back domestically, but by the time it did international, it did. And then DVDs and VHS, like it's made Berry Gordy. I mean, not that Berry Gordy needs more money, right, but like it's made him plenty over the years. So
and that's what you was talking about earlier, streaming.
Yeah.
Back in, those movies now they're streaming now,
and they find a new life. And we talked about it at the screening, because there were, I think, 4 or 5 people that hadn't seen it, and other people that
that was amazing.
It was, I think, me and one other old guy had seen it in the theater, and then everybody else knows it from streaming and VHS.
Yes.
You found your dad's VHS of it or whatever, and it's like that's a thing. So that's where streaming comes in handy. So interesting stories around that. But Berry Gordy wanting to make a kung fu movie set in Harlem in that world, I just think is super interesting, because Kung Fu movies were stealing from African-American cinema. So for African-American cinema to kind of steal it back, I think is super cool.
Okay, so go back, rewind.
So a lot of Hong Kong movies were stealing from African-American movies at the time. So there's the old school, this will get too much history, but what they called like race.
Give it to us, man. Give it. It's Black History Month, man.
So
come on.
They had, we got another couple days. So
yeah, come on.
It was a whole thing. So they were called race movies back in the day. Okay. So that it literally started in like 1915 or whatever. So they were made for like black artists making movies for black audiences, mostly played in the South, which I think is interesting, because there were more theaters that allowed black people in the South. So yeah, right?
That's
of all things. But I think it was one of those, and like, because it was the South back in the day. So I think it was like Tuesday nights, not all the nights. You know what I mean?
Right.
But so they had a huge community, and it was all these people that you've heard of but haven't heard of. It's like Hattie McDaniel, who won the first Oscar, the first black person to ever win an Oscar. She was in a bunch of these movies before she was ever in Gone with the Wind, which has its own whole huge set of problems. But she had a really long career before that.
Wow.
One of the guys from from Amos and Andy, he directed and wrote a bunch of movies, and then went on to do that to make some money. But there was a whole world where people did really well, and then World War II kind of crushed it. So it kind of killed that industry. It died about 1938, a little bit after.
Wow,
so there's like a whole world of these movies made by black artists for black audiences that did really well and had a whole self-sustaining. And when you look at it, it's not completely fair to say it was the first indie cinema, but because people were just doing stuff on their own, but it really kind of was, because they were working with lower budgets, shockingly, right? So Hollywood was like, y'all can make movies, but you get like half of what we're giving the white directors. And like, yeah, whatever, we'll just make our own movies, it's fine. So they did cooler stuff for lower pay, and they had all these series of movies. World War II killed it, and then obviously troubled times after World War II in America. About 1950, 1960, you started seeing the Melvin Van Peebles. You started seeing people like that.
Man, yeah.
And the name you'll hear from the early days is Oscar Micheaux. Oscar Micheaux was a novelist who became a filmmaker. That's like the one you hear about in film school, but there's a bunch of other people. But he's probably the most famous name. And then you get into the 50s and 60s, and you get into Van Peebles. And then you start looking at Gordon Parks and people like that. And you start doing the blaxploitation movies. And then you get into the kung fu movies after that. So there was a big Japanese film, like tons of great films coming out of there. Hong Kong cinema was not doing much interesting stuff, but they started making kung fu movies to spread kung fu and wushu and the principle and the gospel around, which I love those movies. But they were like, what's cool in America? And what was cool coming out of America overseas was blaxploitation movies. Because the rest of American cinema at that time, like we were doing stuff like Raging Bull and things like that. There was cool indie cinema, but that stuff doesn't translate as well internationally. Where the blaxploitation stuff did. People just looked and they're like, that's cool. I want to be Shaft. Great. So like, what if we made this guy Kung Fu Shaft? And they were like, yeah. And so Berry Gordy saw that and it traveled around. And then 10 years later in the 80s, he's like, what if we just steal that back? What if we take Kung Fu and make it ours and make this movie? And then it became a thing. But because Enter the Dragon, when you look at Enter the Dragon, Jim Kelly is as much of a star as Bruce Lee. And that was not intentional. He just popped. Jim Kelly got on screen and people were like, oh, shit.
Right.
Look at this. Sorry. But they're like, look at this dude, man. Like, this guy should be doing stuff.
It was pretty dope, yeah.
And so he got a few movies, and then he was like, I don't want to do movies. But, like, Jim Kelly was legit. Like, he was a middleweight champion. Yeah, middleweight champion kickboxer. And, like, if you watch his old fights, like, he was – Jim Kelly was an actor second because that dude was a really good champion caliber fighter who also, it turned out, had an insane amount of charisma. So, yeah. And so it's just interesting watching it kind of go in cycles like that. And I enjoy – it's one of the weird things, where we say good artists borrow, great artists steal. It's you watch these people steal from each other and steal from, oh, they did this back in 1920, I'm going to take that. And then in 1950, I'll do this. And then in 1980, you see it translated through a bunch of different iterations and through different cultures. And then you get something amazing, like The Last Dragon, where you're just like, this guy grew up watching 70s kung fu movies, got a theater director, like a guy that directs Broadway, a random martial artist nobody knows, and then Prince's girlfriend who's in a band. And then you get like what is kind of a classic.
And that's probably the reason why I kind of watched it.
Vanity made a lot of people watch that movie. I'm not going to lie.
Vanity.
Yeah.
My God.
A lot of feelings. Yeah.
As a child.
Yeah. The dress, and then when she comes down the thing, and you're like, yeah, okay. And she's wearing that silver dress.
Talk about it, bro.
I can't. I'm married. That's all I got. But we all know that silver dress. We all know the silver dress in that movie because it is short.
Man, yes. Listen, yes, sir.
Yeah.
In slow motion.
And the camera's low. So yeah.
Come on, the slow motion part.
Yeah. Ty-Mac and his brother knew. Richie knew, and Bruce Leroy knew.
They knew.
Yeah.
They knew. If anybody have watched it, man, I love that. When I tell you, like, I love the Bruce Leroy, but like I told you when we was watching the screening, when I was telling you about, I liked it, Richie, like his brother, and I just wish they could have a spinoff or something, dude. That even if it would have been just dancing, because he was a part of the dance crew.
Yes.
Even if they would just spin it off as a dancing and something happened that Bruce Lee would have to come back and save him for something.
Richie's got to fight a crime. There's something going down out 110th Street, whatever. Yeah.
He need his brother to come back to help. Something like that. I wish they would have, but hey, it is what it is. It's a classic, so please, y'all go watch it.
Yeah.
Go watch it. And shout out to Berry Gordy and the team.
Yeah, this Mr. Gordy. Oh, and then, it's like there's a ton of great film stories, but the classic Francis Ford Coppola went crazy making Apocalypse Now. Like, it literally drove him crazy. Yeah. And his wife made a documentary about it, and you can watch that guy dissolve over the course of like 200-day shoot. And he literally in the movie, he's like, this is going to be the worst movie ever made. It's going to ruin my career. It's one of the greatest movies ever made, and absolutely made his career. Yeah. And he thought, no, this is it. Yeah. So even the artists don't know. Yeah. Even when you're doing something amazing, you sometimes just think you're just making crap, and you're gonna, and literally the world is gonna fall apart. And next thing you know, you make AFI top 100 movie of all time. So, yeah.
So what's your favorite year of when movie was coming out? Because I'm gonna tell you, I believe the 80s had some dope movies come out.
So
I like the 90s, but the 80s, man, it was there.
It was star power. Yeah. It was giant budgets. It was cool movies. It was social commentary. Like, I don't know when the last time you saw RoboCop was, but you watch RoboCop and they're spitting stuff that's really applicable today. Like the whole, like a fight against a militarized police run by billionaires.
Come on.
And the people trying to stand up against them and gangsters in the background who are working for the billionaires. And I'm like, this looks familiar. And it just the whole thing. And then set in Detroit, and the themes of it translates so well.
RoboCop.
And then there's just like, there was a bunch of fun movies. There was a bunch of cool stuff. So my blockbusters, 80s, the like late 70s, early 80s is kind of my jam for actors again, like Conan and the Dragon and stuff. Like those are the ones, and for early American indies where you're looking at Scorsese back in the day. Like the early Scorsese is amazing. But then for me, it's that early 90s when you had a weird mix of blockbusters and independent movies. When Soderbergh made his first movie, and Sex, Lies, and Videotape comes out in 94 or whatever it is. And then like, oh man, we should give money to people we've never heard of. And then you get a Reservoir Dogs, you get the Hughes brothers, you get John Singleton, you get Spike Lee, you get all these guys together coming out. But then they're also like, hey, these two weird brothers made a really indie movie about like a lesbian crime couple. Let's give them a bunch of money to make The Matrix. And you're like, yep, let's do that. And then they make The Matrix. So you end up with like these massive blockbusters from smaller directors. And then you also get like, hey, Tarantino, people really like this. Let's give him as much money as he wants. He's like, cool, I want Sam Jackson, John Travolta. They're like, no, I don't think you heard us. You can have anyone. And he's like, yeah, I want Sam Jackson and John Travolta. And then he makes Pulp Fiction with a bunch of people. Like Sam Jackson was in everything, but he was not
the
Samuel
man.
L.
He
Jackson
was,
at that time.
Right. He was the man because I like him in Coming to America.
Yes. I like everybody in Coming to America, but
who the you like I love like that was my first time ever meeting this man, and he had so much charisma. And this is amazing how you can it don't take you to have buku lines to a whole movie. You just need one shot.
That's it.
God, if you give me one shot on a movie, and let me capitalize that.
And you see those guys work.
Listen,
you call them that guys, right? You see them in like 50 movies, and then all of a sudden, Tony Soprano, that guy James Gandolfini is in a million movies as a random gangster, and then people are like, every time you your eyes kind of go to him, and they're like, let's just try it out. You give them a series, you got The Sopranos.
It's like I can take you to now in the 2000s. What it Get Out? The guy, Lil Rel?
Yeah, Lil Rel.
Look at him.
Lil Rel Howard.
He started like just being in security. Now look at him, man. He's doing shows. He's doing so by him just capitalizing, man, on that one moment as being a security guard.
That's it. He popped. He was the friend. He was
just the friend. He was just a friend.
Yeah.
So man, let's go back. I like a movie, man, that I grew up on, and you're gonna be like, one of my favorite movies, man, is Weekend with Bernie.
People love that movie.
Man.
That's a great movie.
Man.
It's hilarious. It's weird. Like, that's a weird concept, man. And it worked because it was the 80s. Like, just let it happen.
I'm going to tell you my favorite, okay? And as a child, I'm too young to understand, but once I got older, I was like, she went upstairs. I heard noises. And then she came back with her hair all, the man is dead. The man is dead. Like, so I'm like, so when you die, you still have feeling? Like
rigor mortis? I don't know, but
what is going on? What did he do to you? So it's the hilarious type of things that they put in those movies back then that made me just like, oh, y'all just, so that's what I love about Weekend with Bernie. Just the whole concept, just them New York, and I'm going to tell you, that was probably like my first time really wanting to be on a rooftop.
Yeah.
To just like, oh man, I would love to be on a rooftop, and it was just what how they had that little small little pool, and they just dipped it. It was just dope. Just New York. It was just so New York, and then for them to go to the beach and just how that happened, and just everything that's happened with it was just so dope. Like,
but imagine that pitch, man. You go in, you're talking to the big executives. You get your pitch at Universal, and you're like, here's the thing: 2 kids, 1 dead guy, and they're like, wait, what? And they're like a dead guy for like a minute, and you're like, no, the whole movie. One of the characters is gonna be dead. You're like, you have 3 lead actors, and one of them's gonna be dead. You're like, yeah. And Universal's like, sold, $50 million. Let's go make it. How does that happen? Like, that's, I would
going down the
love
steps
to know
with
what
his
that
head.
Dude, I want to hear that pitch.
You know when he was in the water and he kept hitting the pole. Boom! I was like,
yeah, it's ridiculous. But it's great.
So let's go some more since we talk about movies. Police Academy.
Oh, dude, amazing. Steve Guttenberg. Crushing it, biggest star in the world at the time. Him and Michael Keaton going up against each other for a bunch of roles. Keaton gets Batman. That's Steve Guttenberg has to make Police Academy 6. Michael Keaton gets to make Batman. Like right there, it could have gone the other way. It could have been Keaton and Police Academy. It could have been Steve Guttenberg. Could have been one of our Batmans.
But it was, man, when I tell you that cast,
oh, so good. Yeah,
dude. What's his name? Winslow. What's his name? Mark. What's his Winslow? His last name Winslow. The black guy with the noises.
Yeah. He's in Spaceballs. And
I know his last name is Winslow.
Things.
But man,
I can't remember his first name. But that guy again, like what a weird. Like you have one weird skill, and you can act, but it's like you can make any sound. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
And then, especially when they get to that, that lady, oh my God, with the big, man,
yeah.
And then I think it was 2 with the Chinese guy. Well, first I think it was
because they start to blend. Yeah.
I think the Chinese guy, he was like in love with her, and I guess she gave him a chance or something like that.
I think that's 2.
I think it too, but then the one that kept hitting his dad.
Yeah,
he got it too. When he brought out he had his little stocking cap trying to act like a woman. Remember that? Yeah, all that type of stuff. Like I love all those police academies, man.
Yeah,
even she talk like this, and then she
talk like
what's his name? Guard. What's his name?
I'm trying to remember who the football player was in it. Right? They had a famous.
The famous football player. I forgot his name.
Super well known as a linebacker, and then they put him in. And it was that first strike. Are we putting athletes in movies? And they're like, yeah, let's do it. See what happens.
And I mean, Bubba
Smith. Bubba Smith.
Yeah, Bubba Smith.
And he was great. He was super funny, and you're like, yeah, okay. Turns out that works. We should do that. Tackleberry.
That dude, man. Listen.
But we would call people Tackleberry for a minute.
Right.
Like, you're like, that's the goofy.
But it was so crazy because all those characters, you related to them. I know someone like that. I know someone like that.
Dude, it was your high school. That is taking the model of what if your high school was an adult life? Because, you get older and you're like, well, it's not that much different. But, like, what if you just took your high school class of, like, the joker, the jock, the hot girl, the nerd, and the overzealous guy, and then you put them in an adult situation, and then you can make it rated R and show some boobs and do the thing to get everybody watching. Yeah. And boom. And that is literally, they just took, like, let's make a high-stakes high school. And you're like, yeah, give them guns. Oh, yeah, Police Academy. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the pitch for that. Yeah. It's a high school movie set in an adult world. You're like, sold. Yeah. Here's another $50 million or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I would love to know what the budget was.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Big Trouble in Little China?
Man, yes, sir.
Okay, because you're going to get a theme again with the Kung Fu movies. I love that movie. That is one of my favorites. And it's like John Carpenter genius and the whole thing, because that was really tricky because it's Kurt Russell's not the lead. Fact. But they couldn't sell it to the studio with an Asian lead at the time. Mm-hmm. And Kurt Russell and John Carpenter were like, yeah. Kurt's the lead, and Kurt's like, yeah, I'll be the lead. And he knew, like, they knew going in, this is the only way to slip this through. We're gonna lie. I'll be on the poster. We'll lie to the studio. Like Carpenter, they lied to the studio about who was the lead, and Kurt Russell's like, yeah, it's fine. And then made that movie, and he's the goofy sidekick, and that kid's the lead, and it's like that's an amazing film. Plus, just a ridiculous movie. Like that's as crazy as The Last Dragon, and just so much fun. Yeah. Everything about it is like, what an insane concept. But you're like, wait. There's like giant kung fu wars all the time in China. It was like, I got to go to Harlem because there's going to be giant kung fu wars. I got to go to Chinatown. There's going to be giant kung fu wars.
Right.
Turns out there's not.
Fact.
But when I was a kid, I didn't know any better.
Right. The perception that they gave you as a child, it made your just creative mind just to go into a whole nother atmosphere, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, man, on movies, man, I've seen them change. I've seen them like, oh, we're not doing those no more. Yeah. It was at that time. That's it. Enough of those. But I remember in high school, man, it started to get a lot of very raunchy in type of movies.
Yes.
American Pie.
Yep.
American Pie, it kind of, I was like, whoa, y'all taking us here now. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about American Pie, man.
Teen sex comedies. Okay. Super hot. Yes. So the same thing in the 70s, though. You had Porky's, what was it?
Yes,
Porky's, Meatballs, kind of Police Academy. So these are movies, and you make them rated R, but they're really for 15-year-olds, right? It's for 15-year-old dudes. We're going to show some boobs. People are going to make some gross jokes. We're going to do the thing. Like, that's what you want. And it's the same American Pie. There's a scene. She turns around and you're like, yep, this is what I'm here for. And you're sneaking into the movies. You have your parents drop you off. Your friend's got a VHS. It's worn down at that one place. They give you the whole
experience, though.
This is it. So
they give you the whole experience when you watch those movies. Like, I don't even know you're but like, yeah.
The internet killed those. Because you don't need to go to a theater. You don't need to get a VHS to see them. You just type it in. You got access to everything you've ever wanted to see in the world, which you can talk about where that's at, but it's but it killed the need for those movies because that comes in skits and shorts now. So instead of needing I don't think like Superbad was the last of it, but kind of getting towards the last of it where you didn't need, kids have access to other stuff now and they watch shorter bits of comedy and they watch shorter bits of, looking for naked bodies. So they don't need that whole movie, which I think is a bummer because those movies are hilarious. They're inappropriate. There's all kinds of stuff that's wrong with them, and I love them. And they're super funny, and it's a whole genre, and it did well.
Yeah.
And you usually see, like cycles, art, everything, fashion, whatever, tends to run in 20-year cycles, and it kind of shortened up to 10. And I kept thinking they're going to come back. And look, I'm clearly aged out of the viewing element for those, but I haven't seen them come through like that anymore. And I keep waiting for someone to remake them. And they've done the girls' version. They did Booksmart. Like, they went through and were like, we'll do the women's version. We'll do that version. And those did well. And then there was one after Booksmart. And then I think that was kind of it. So, yeah, I think it is. I think the internet killed them. Yeah. But I hope not. And I would love to see, like, a 24-year-old come and start making those. Like, this is what high school's like now.
Right.
Because it's like, I don't know what high school's like now. You know what I mean?
I used to like those high school type of movies.
Because they're funny even when you're an adult. They're
Varsity
so
Blues.
Funny. Yeah, Varsity Blues, Dazed and Confused. Like, all those movies, it's like, you want to see it because it's such a time in your life that you're locked into in your head. And especially, you want to see your version of high school because you get so many form of the music, the art, the clothes, whatever it was, the car you're driving,
National
the people you're with. Yeah, all those
type of movies.
You're stuck.
They was,
Yeah. But yeah, I think the internet killed them, man. But I would love to see him come back. The closest, now I can't remember the name of it, but it was 2 years ago, and it's a kid in the like Central Valley in California, Korean kid. And it's the first movie made by like a digital native director, like someone who grew up with cell phones their whole life. And it's how kids communicate. And that movie is the first one I've seen where they, like, kids would watch it and be like, yeah, that's how we talk. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, wow, that's the accurate, but it was accurate to the times for kids now. But I think you need a younger director because high school didn't change all that much for a really long time. And then phones kind of changed everything. So anyone who grew up not a digital native, I think, has a hard time. Like, my version of high school is very different from and I teach high school kids, so I talk to them enough to know my version is just very different from how they live because their parents always know where they are. They can always talk to a friend. Like, I grew up, you were just out there, and like you go knock on a door, and if they're not home, they're just not home. And you call someone, and nobody answers. Like, that's it. And you just walked out, and your parents are like, I don't know where they are. Like, they'll turn up or not. Like, we'll see how it goes. They'll probably come back when they're hungry, and like that's kind of it. So it's, that's the whole premise of Dazed and Confused is like lying to your parents and being able to get away with it. And that and Superbad, again, is kind of the last one of those because pre-phones, those kids are out doing stuff and their parents aren't over their shoulder the whole time. Yeah. So if you make a movie now, you kind of have to make it where that factors in. And a lot of older filmmakers who are old enough to get the budget to make those movies aren't going to understand how to tell that story. And it's also why you see a lot of period pieces, right? Because the cell phone kills all jeopardy. Hey, there's a killer in the house. We can't talk to him. Yeah, you can. Just text him. Just text him and say the killer's on the way. Get out. Go somewhere. Go to the airport. What are you doing? So a lot of the reason you see films set in pre-cell phone times is just because it's a plot killer. It's really hard to work around because the answer to almost every horror action thriller is just call him. What are you doing? Just text him. Solve this problem. What's going on, man?
Right.
So sadly for you, I think they're dead. I would love to see some more raunchy teen comedies, but I do miss them.
Yeah. So it's one movie, man. I think it's two of them that one of my friends put me on. Freddy Got Fingered.
Ha! Tom Green.
Come on, man.
He's making a comeback.
No way.
He just got a deal. Yeah,
no way, bro.
It was in Variety or Hollywood Reporter last week.
Come on,
dude.
Man.
I can't believe you like that. That movie's terrible. I'm just gonna say it.
It is, but listen, but now you can see what type of like how I am. Like I like all type of movies, bro. You know what I'm saying?
I'm all for it.
Yeah. That's the era. That's how I grew up. So that's how my mind is like. Yeah. Is all up because, dude, for him to have like all those sausages on his finger. Daddy, would you like some sausages? Daddy, would you like some sausages? Like stuff like that. Miller Baron, just I want to roll him up. Like stuff like that. Tom Green was
huge,
man. He was huge,
dude. He was everywhere. It was MTV. He had a talk show. He was the first like post-ironic comedy where people like you either liked him or you didn't, and you either got it or you didn't.
Right.
He was just
like Will Yankovic, like him. Those guys, like I love. I mean, you can go even back to when I really started watching like those type of movies. Was what's his name? Mr. Pinky, Mr. Bright. No, what's his name? I think he was in the UK.
Mr. Bean.
Mr.
Bean. You like surrealist comedy, man. Yes. Yeah. That's it. The surrealist stuff.
I like, I grew up. That's me.
That's crazy.
I'm an MTV guy.
That's okay.
So that's the reason why Tom Green and those guys attracted to me because they was a part of the MTV era back in the day. Like they was always on shows. They hosting things like that. So if you're a type of kid like me, I'm very intuitive and want to learn, and I'm very like like be knowledgeable of things.
Yeah.
I was researching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like look, Blockbusters. I was going to get those VHSs.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
man.
saying? When I saw them, hey, a new movie coming out, I'm going to go get it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah, like movies like that, y'all probably never even heard of Freddy Got Fingered, guys.
Give it a watch. It's
Go
weird.
check it out.
Yeah.
Like seriously, go check it out
It's
because
funny.
oh, dude, the skateboard scene.
But because he was a big
On the knee?
He legitimately was
Just
a
make
skateboarder,
the
by the way.
but the crazy did he like the skateboard hits.
But dude, it's the daddy thing. It just the whole thing. It's you can't explain it to someone. You just got to see it because it's so strange.
You can't.
But he's a strange dude. Like he's genuinely a weird dude, which is what makes him funny. Like that's not an act.
Oh, I feel like Pete Davidson. It's like he's like weird dude. Like,
Yeah, same kind of deal. Like he's not acting. He's just that dude. That's. I think Tom Green is never acting. I think he just is that dude.
Facts,
and people are like, just roll. Like that's fine.
Right.
Just put a camera on him.
Yeah, just be who you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, man, there's a lot of actors, man. We can go on and on, man. But what's an actor that like you really know what I saw him from the beginning into now?
Oh,
that I like.
man.
This is my guy. It don't matter what I'm watching it.
So this maybe not a popular pick. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He was on a TV show called Third Rock from the Sun, and I was like, he's this weird little long-haired kid, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he took all that because you make a lot of money on sitcoms. You make a lot of money on sitcoms.
Yeah, a lot of money too.
You get like
I'd rather do that than a movie. Seriously.
but like because you're home every day, you get to see the kids. You're usually working kind of 9 to 5ish. You get a much better schedule.
Facts.
5 days a week, and then it used to be like 20 or whatever it was, like 30 weeks a year, and then you were off. And again, the money's different now, but if you were on a sitcom back in the day and you got 6 seasons, you're pretty good for life. Like if you handle your money right, you're good. And Joseph Gordon-Levitt took that money and he said, you know what? I love acting. I'm going to be in the most indie movies I can because if I want to work with the director, if I find the director interesting, he only does movies that he thinks are interesting. He never has to work for a paycheck. He's not, because the big saying in Hollywood, one for the real, one for the meal. I'm going to do one for me that I think looks really cool, and I'm going to do one to feed my family. And that's, and if you're lucky, you can alternate between those. He doesn't have one for the meal. Third Rock from the Sun was one for the meal. So all he does is one for the real. And he just works straight through. And he made a movie called Brick with Rian Johnson that is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's this crazy movie. It's so good. It's such a great indie that got Rian Johnson all this big shows and big work after it. And he's such an interesting actor. And he's great. Like, and then he's in Inception. He's like, I'll work with Chris Nolan. I'll be in a big movie. But it's got to be a real interesting director. Like, let's make this crazy getting into people's dreams movie and I'll run around upside down. And he's great in it. And he's up against Leo DiCaprio, and he's crushing it the whole time. Then he's in Looper with Bruce Willis, and he's up against Bruce Willis, and he's toe-to-toe, and peak Bruce Willis. And he's toe-to-toe, and he's holding his own, and he's crushing it, and he's doing great. And he goes against other big actors, and he's not scared to work with, like, to get out there, and he's not scared to take chances. And he does a little indie romance, like 500 Days of Summer, which I love. That was literally my wife and I's first date ever was at the Robbins Film Center to see 500 Days of Summer. Before I was just here working. I didn't live here yet. So so it's like he's in that movie, so that's always gonna have a special place. And then Miles Teller. I love Miles Teller, man. The guy, Top Gun 2, that guy, and he's in a bunch of great movies. And he makes interesting choices. It doesn't hurt that he's in Whiplash, which is one of my favorite movies. It's about the sacrifices you make for art. He's a drummer. I was a drummer. Like all the stuff in it is right there. And I love Chazelle, the director.
That's why I watched it too.
It is right there,
Pretty
and
dope
he's
movie.
so good in it.
Yeah.
And he's like the new, because he's not like the best looking dude. He's not that like superstar power good looking.
No, but he's a great,
But he's a monster actor.
Right there in between.
And he's like a real dude. Like you believe, like when he plays a guy that gets in a fight, you're like, that dude could probably get in a fight. Like he's been in a scrap somewhere.
Yes.
Like he's not a pretty boy. He doesn't seem like he's putting on. He's like a normal dude from Philly.
Yeah, like an average. He's basically like an average actor.
Yes, but a great actor, but an
very
average
talented.
dude.
Very
So
talented though.
he is the opposite. So he's a character actor with a leading man's skills. We always talk about like Brad Pitt is a character actor trapped in a leading man's body, where Miles Teller, I think, is a lead actor trapped in a character actor's body, right? He's kind of the opposite. Like Brad Pitt's a great actor, but he's so like pretty that you can't have him in the background because he's just too distracting. Where Miles Teller is popping off your screen, but he could be in the back. Like if he didn't say anything, you're like, okay, just a dude walking by.
Right.
So Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Miles Teller, I love both of them. I mean, there's other people, but those two kind of come to mind first.
My I can say probably my number one will probably be Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Why? And why y'all ask? Or why y'all want to know? This guy, man, is talented. He does, basically his own stunts.
Yeah. Crazy. Him going around the corners on a motorcycle, no helmet, and you know he's doing it for real, and he's like knee down.
Come on, let's talk
I'm
about
like,
it, bro. Like they don't understand. Like
one slip,
and you wonder why. How much it costs?
Yeah, the insurance alone.
The insurance, correct.
He started. The reason he produces his own movies is because nobody will insure him. He can't have another producer. They would never let him do that. He wants to do his own stunts. He's like, fine, I'll do it myself.
Right.
He's in a movie.
Man, amazing, bro.
So I don't know if it's a bunch of kids at a military academy and what's the kid's name? Like he's in The Outsiders and stuff like that. So he's in all these movies and he's like 15, 16. So young Tom Cruise, you're like, oh, I get it. That guy's going to be huge.
Yeah.
He is in a movie where it's a bunch of kids at a military academy like take over and fight off the army. And Tom Cruise is like the Army Ranger trainee kind of guy, like a kind of tough guy.
Yeah.
And he's so good. It's I'll remember the name and I'll text it to you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
when you see it, you'll be like, oh man, like you're watching this kid at 16 and you're like, that kid's gonna be the biggest star in the world. He's so good in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything you see him in, he's just doing it.
And then you just saw him at the Olympics, the end of the Olympics.
Yeah.
Dude on
Crazy.
top of the.
Just doing it, hanging off planes, and he's like, I'm gonna learn to fly a helicopter.
He doesn't fear. Like he has no fear.
I think he has fear of mediocrity is what he's got. He's got fear of not being the best, and he's a crazy person, and I think it's great.
Have you ever been around him or met anybody that's been around him? Like how is he? Like,
so I've not met Tom Cruise, but the place I bartended at was the place that hosts the Golden Globes.
Okay, wow.
So I'm walking into work.
Okay.
Mr. Cruz is standing there with his bodyguards in the kitchen, and I walk by him, and again, like a really nice. He acknowledged, "How are you doing today?" Great, sir. Nice to see you. And kept moving. Like I can't.
That right? You working?
One,
right,
I don't want to get beat up by the guards. Two, I'm supposed to be working. We can't interact with the guest. Makes eye contact, says hello, and I'm like, that's a guy who doesn't know me. Obviously, I work in a kitchen. I'm dressed like a bartender. You know, it's like going through. But he knows, one, be nice to everybody.
Wow, man.
Why not? He's got.
You saw his character right there.
And this is peak Tom Cruise. This is in the 90s. Like Tom Cruise can do anything.
Oh, wow, yeah.
He could have like put out a cigarette on me, and there would have been no repercussions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like nothing would have harmed him. But like he knows, hey, one, just be a decent person. That's what got me here. And two, maybe I end up making a movie with that kid someday. Maybe that kid becomes a director. It's LA. You never know. Like the guy who's waiting tables might become your director. So
because you never know what they're doing. He might be waiting them tables just to get money to save up.
This is it.
And that's one thing I do like about LA because they say it is the city of dreams.
Yeah.
So people do literally like have nothing and go to LA.
Yeah.
For, you know what I'm saying, sacrificing.
You eat a lot of ramen.
Oh, man, you hear me? When you got 4 or 5 people in a loft.
Dude, I wish we had a loft.
But you understand what I'm saying? It's so
Yeah.
compacted, and you got people dreams, and then only one person makes it out of that.
Yeah, tops. It's a brutal city, but it is also, you see people's character on sets, and that's one of the things where Tom Cruise and a lot of big stars I met, and I talked about like Bruce Willis, super cool. When people are mean to PAs or people are jerks to the PAs or the people underneath them, you know real fast. And not that many people can get away with it, and not that many people survive doing that. Partly because people want to be around good people. When you're working, when you're with someone for 6 months every day making a movie, you want to be with good people. And then partly you don't know who you're going to end up with. Like that PA that you just like threw a coffee at, that kid might be your producer in 3 years.
You hear me?
Like
Seriously.
you have no idea if he's got the best. He might be sitting on The Godfather. He might be sitting on Top Gun script.
Yeah.
You don't know.
And then you never know what people have in their pockets because it could be a kid, parents probably are millionaires, but guess what? He wants to be in the film industry, so he understands he got to start from the bottom.
Yep.
So he could be bringing you, but his parents got more money or he got more money than you.
Yeah.
And like you say, in 3 years now he's a producer because he has climbed the ladder because he probably, and then once you know what, I got this much, I could be a producer. What I need, or I'm an executive producer now. What you need. So I mean, it can happen like that. So that's why it's always good. So I tell people all the time, man, treat God's people right.
Yeah. Always.
You know what I'm saying? If that's how you want to be treated, treat other people just like how you want to be treated. And that's how I believe that's how things evolve. That's how life moves. And I believe that's just how it's supposed to be.
It's a real clean do unto others. Like it's been around for a long time.
Right.
It's not like this is new, and it's not even a business decision. It's gonna make their day better. It's gonna make your day better. It's gonna make the whole vibe on set better.
Yeah.
And especially when you meet people that like famously had real jobs. Like Bruce Willis had real jobs before he was an actor. George Clooney had real jobs. They're always the nicest people because they understand what it is to work, and they know acting is hard work, but it's not digging ditches, it's not working landscaping, it's not driving a taxi, it's not those things. And so they still have respect for those people that are working around them. They know it's a bunch of trades. They know how hard everyone is working to make them look good, and they appreciate that. And they know, like, again, if and a lot of actors have waited tables, like they're gonna be nice to the servers because they've done that job and they know like this guy's busting it. They're having a very difficult time to make my night better.
Right.
So why would I be rude to them? And they've been in that position, so they understand. Like someone's working as a service to me. Why would I be rude to them? Like that's crazy, but some people. Yeah.
Already. So listen, what advice would you give to aspiring filmmakers trying to break into the industry?
Well, so a few things. So owned over years of teaching over there. So the one is always work harder than everybody else. Always be the hardest working person on set, and that is universally. So we get in guest speakers. We have a program called Teen Film Council. It's my favorite thing because I didn't have anything like it. So it is kids in high school who want to go on to film school, who want to work in the industry, or just like big film nerds that like talking about movies. So I didn't have any of that when I was a kid. None of it
me
existed.
either.
So I'm really excited to be able to be a part of that for kids.
That's at
the Robinson Film Center. So you can sign up if you're in high school. Sign up for it. Not this year, but you can sign up for next year. We do a spring semester and a winter semester. We're in spring semester now. Kids make their own movies. They make ads. They program films. But we get in industry professionals. So we've had the VFX supervisor from The Matrix. We've had a composer from the TV show Psych. We have a festival director that used to work for Sundance. Yeah.
They got to be on this platform.
Directors, all these people. That's right. Yes, but we want them to get a variety. Like, there's not just one job, not just directors, not just actors.
Right.
Not just writers.
It's a lot of jobs on set.
Million
jobs.
Like
I tell, like, he don't understand. Like, and this is when I tell you, man, train and retain. You know what I'm saying? I just trained my homie, Knowledge 312. To produce, and just a couple days ago, and he's been doing an awesome job producing, man. But he don't even understand the masses of what it takes for a production. Like he don't, man. Oh, it's over 100 of people.
Yes.
Like that's in the. Then you got that just people working. Then guess what? One day you might need 200 people to come in for this fighting scene or for a school or for something to fill up the arena or anything like that. So it's a lot.
Watch those credits. There's a lot of names.
It's a lot, man. And it can get overwhelming. It can get overwhelming if you're not. Yeah, I want to. But man, you really. I tell people all the time, like just kind of shadow. Just go and see if this is something that you really want to do.
Yeah, try it out.
Try it out because short. Even start at a short film.
Yeah.
And just work your way up because it's a sacrifice.
It is, but the joy of movies, you're
Most
on
definitely,
for 3 months to 12 months, whatever. You can do that job for that long and then say, this is not for me. But here's the thing. Everyone who's ever come and spoke to us, we always say, tell the kids how you got there, how you started, why you wanted to do it, and then they ask questions. Universally, every single guest speaker has said, I outworked everyone. Wow. And these are kids from LA, from San Francisco, from Trinidad, from Blanchard, from everywhere. They always say if you're the hardest working person on set, people will notice. And people talk about the uncles or the rich people or whatever. Hollywood it's not a meritocracy in the sense that everybody gets a chance. But once you get on set, if you outwork everybody, you will get noticed. If the producer walks by and you're the kid on your phone or you're leaning there and you're crafty.
Yeah, I hear that.
They're not doing it.
Yeah, listen.
If you're the kid cleaning up, if you think I'm hungry and thirsty or it's a hot day and I need some cold water, you don't grab yourself a water. You grab yourself water and you grab 3 other waters and you take it to the people that you see and go, hey, would you like a water? It's a hot day. Make sure you're staying hydrated. People notice and they remember and they think that's the kid I want on my next show. 3 shows from now, you're moved up 4 levels. You're making $1,000 more a week than you started at. That's where it's at. And that's where the check. But the problem is you got to always do that. You get a little gap. Like I'm old enough. I've got about a 3-show hopefully buffer that like I can maybe not work myself as hard as possible on like maybe 2 shows, maybe 3.
Okay.
But after that I'm done. I'm never going to work again. So I work as hard as I can for show. Like that's 30 years in, that's about the buffer I get is like maybe 2 movies, 2 shows, 2 movies. So always be the hardest working person. So that's it. The other thing is, and we talked about this before, like don't wait. So everybody is I gotta have the latest camera. I don't have an Alexa. I don't have a Red. I need this. I need that.
Come on, y'all.
I need sound.
You're helping someone. Help someone, bro, today.
This is a better camera than I had in film school. This, again, we talked about. So Steven Soderbergh, who's won multiple Best Director, Best Editor, Best Cinematographer, actor, Oscars. Like, the man has won multiple Oscars. He edits his own movies. He shoots his own movies. He has shot 3 things on iPhone that have been on HBO and have been in theaters. He does not. He can get anything he wants. He made Ocean's 11. He had a budget that allowed George Clooney, Brad Pitt, all the other people in it. He can call up a studio, and I literally know this because a buddy works on his movies. He can call Warner Brothers, say, I have an idea for a movie. It's going to cost $200 million. And Warner Brothers is like, Steven, we would love to. No problem, because he's Steven effing Soderbergh. He chose to shoot movies on an iPhone. If it's good enough for him, it is good enough for y'all. Doesn't have to be an iPhone. It can be an Android. You can borrow a phone from your parents. You can call someone. You can rent a phone for like $19 for a month and then return it. If you've got a story to tell, you can record it. This is good enough. I promise you, this is good enough. You can do audio. You have your friends. Everybody's got a phone on scene. Set your phone here. Do voice notifications. Have that be the microphone while another phone films. No problem. We just filmed a short with some of our kids. They both have their phones on the table. They're both recording their own audio while another kid's recording video, and then you just clap, and then you sync them all together, and no problem. And they've got good image. They've got good sound. It is as good as you need for Hollywood and for an Oscar winner, and that's it. So don't wait. If you have stories to tell, I don't know which camera I'm looking at.
Right here, the one right
there. We
there.
go.
Yeah.
Don't wait. If you got a story to tell, if you want to make a movie, grab your phone, borrow a phone, rent a phone, make your movie. That's it. Tell your story. That's all you got to do. So outwork everybody when you're on a big set. Make your own movie when you're making your own movie, and when you got a story to tell, that is my advice. Like that's it. But I waited, and like to be fair, like I'm one of those guys. I'm a gear. I need this. If I only had what if I could get don't do that. That's a huge mistake. It sets you back. There's no reason not to make stuff now.
So y'all hit it, man. I needed to hit it, man, because what I was telling you earlier, I definitely understand that you don't need all those what they call whistles and bells to make things happen. I believe you just need to get with the right people to just give you a couple things to just tweet.
Yeah.
In what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? The phones now, I mean, they got them on. You can put them on cinematic and and just kind of go into the option to the camera. They have different type of. Just ask them like, what is this?
Yeah.
Is this the one I need to be on? Do I need to be on this? Or, okay. Oh, okay, got you. And then start shooting.
Start shooting,
and then I need sound. Now, how can I get sound? I need a mic. You just continue to start getting right. You getting those things together, and then, like you say, sync it, and now you got your movie, man. Man. Listen, y'all, this is Culture Connected TV, and this is your boy T Vocals. I've had a great time, man, with you, man. He has given us a lot of history. He's given us some knowledge, and man, when I tell you, bro, we can talk all day. I mean, you're like a big brother, man. Like seriously, like that. I can just talk to just about just movies, man. But I thank you, man. I definitely want to just give you your flowers today, man. You're still living, so you can still smell his flowers, man. We're thankful for you, bro. Man, we're thankful for you being here in Shreveport, man. And also to being a blessing at the Robinson Film Theater and doing what you're doing for the kids. So. Kids, if you're watching, or parents, listen, next year, enroll your kids, you know what I'm saying? Because we might have a John Singleton. We might have, a up and coming, you just never know, you know what I'm saying? A director, so you never know who we have in the city if we don't, if we don't give them an opportunity. And I believe if anybody gets an opportunity, I believe something can happen.
That's a fact, man. Well, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it. And look, that's the joy of the Robinson. You come over there, you watch a movie, you might run into me in the lobby, and I'll talk your ear off about films as long as you want. Come see us. I'm always happy to sit down at the bistro or in the lobby and just talk about movies, because that's everybody that works there loves movies, and that's what we do. But man, I appreciate you having me on. It is good to reach out to people, and people need to know you can do it in Shreveport. You can be here and do it. You do not have to move to LA. You do not have to move to Atlanta these days. You used to.
Thank you for saying that.
But it's not that time anymore. Yeah. So
you heard that. It's not that time anymore. You don't have to go to LA to city. You can be here and make an impact. And that's what Culture Connected TV, man, is doing, is wanting to make it just an impact, a positive impact in our city, man, because we have a great city and we are downtown Shreveport. I've enjoyed myself, man, but I have one more question for you, man, before you get out of here. What are some of your hobbies outside of filmmaking?
Well, a lot of stuff I don't. So I've got a kid in kindergarten, so that takes a lot of my hobby time right there.
Yeah.
Used to play drums. I sold my kit when I moved, so I'm waiting to get a new kit.
Okay.
I've been saving a space. I told my wife, I just need this space for a corner where I can get a kit when I get time and can make a little noise. So I do that. I used to snowboard a lot. I obviously don't do that as much here.
We definitely got to jam out, bro.
So
I'm
sold. I still have.
All right, I got you. I got a couple sets.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a drummer. Yeah. Before I just started doing all this, man, I traveled the world just playing a drum.
Then we will.
Yes. I got a couple. Yeah,
I still got my KZs. That's all I kept was my hi-hats. Everything else I'm waiting. I got to rebuild.
Yeah.
I need a bunch of old. I don't need a bunch. I want a bunch of old Ks. Yeah. And then we'll get to that. But yeah, man, So that and then outdoor stuff. Like I used is like a big backpacker and stuff. And then I used to do martial arts stuff, but that as I've gotten older, like jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and stuff. But those days are probably past. Last time I did it, a guy blew my hamstring into 1,000 pieces. He's a buddy, so I like to give him crap about it. If he's watching, Jeff, I remember. But yeah, so a lot of my hobbies now are making movies and watching movies. So yeah.
Wow. The man, the legend, the myth, my brother, Rich Hansil, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, man. Like I say, man, we are giving you flowers today, man. I've had a great time. This has been an awesome day, man. And listen, I need y'all to tap into what Robinson Film Theater is going on, man. They have a lot of great things. I mean, they also have where you can dine in upstairs, Abbey Singers. Shout out to Nima. Y'all go check them out. They also even have, I just found out, man, at the Robinson Film Theater, they even have wine tastings.
Yeah.
And they have different wine from all over different countries.
Yeah. That
they have imported in. So there's not them getting some wine from Walgreens and we're going to CVS to get some wine and then bring it to y'all talking about this is from Portobello, Italy. No. Yeah. They are literally going, so that was dope to hear about that. And also, too, y'all have other things during the month that they have going on. And I mean, y'all be talking about, ain't nothing to do in Shreveport. Hey, listen, guys, date night? I'm going to tell you, listen, one-stop shop. Let me help you. Movie. No, first, let's rewind. Dinner. Upstairs. Come downstairs. Movie. Hey, walk around downtown for a little bit where the lights are. Don't just going down no alleys now. Just and enjoy yourself. That's a nice date night.
Just be careful. That's how I ended up married and living in Shreveport.
Oh,
See, that was literally our first date, and now I'm married and I live here, so it happens.
You see that?
Saying it can't work out.
I'm the man. If you need any, listen, guys. If you need any advice, I got you. And now you see what he just said. That's basically what he did. And look, he wifed up now. He's here, and I'm glad that she wiped him up. Hey, I'm glad. I'm so glad that they're married. They got a kindergarten, and he's here because, man, we need your education, bro. The things that you have learned over the years, man, we need it, bro. It's we need it.
Thanks.
Seriously, man, and I'm thankful for you, bro. Hey, this your boy T-Vocal, the host, man. Culture Connected TV film segment, man. It's been a great time with my brother, man. Till next time. You never know who might be in this seat. Hey, we're looking for you. Love y'all much. Peace, love, and hair grease.
Whoa, hey. Shouts out to our amazing fashion sponsors of the day.
Man, check out Rude Boys Artwork, man. You can get it right now. Customize anything. They fresh to death.
And yes, honey, yarn earrings by Affirmed Accessories. Make sure you go on Facebook. Check us out right now so you can have the perfect pop for your outfit. It's cold outside and they will keep your ears and your neck warm. So listen, go and check out our people right now. They have amazing things in the city. Affirmed Accessories, Rude Boys Artwork. If you have a business and you would like for us to rock your stuff and shout you out as well, make sure you get with the Culturally Connected, where we will get you connected. Peace. So here's the thing.